Overthinking is when it stops being sort of productive and valuable. And I do think that that's it, right? Because it's much more the like, any sort of, to me, like sort of negatives around this label are much more on the over word than they are on the thinking word, right? Like thinking is good, being thoughtful is good. Right. But like, when are we doing more of it than is like a value to anybody?
Yeah, I think the indecision part of this comes to life, right? In terms of like, if I have a decision to make, again, like you and I have talked about this, like you and I are pretty opinionated, decisive people, right? And so I don't necessarily relate to that part of like, if I have a decision I need to make, I'm going to ruminate on the options and I'm going to second guess myself and question like, okay, but if this is my decision, is it the right decision? And what else have I not considered? And it might not happen that way. So I think that's what I heard in that, a little bit of like the not trusting your gut, or, you know, continuing to think about the decision after maybe you've landed in that like 70% certain place or something like that, right?
Yeah, I definitely think about sort of that kind of percentage idea a little bit in kind of my like work products, that I can get to the point where I feel like I'm over optimizing, like overthinking that last 20%, and especially being like a solopreneur, not having other people that I'm collaborating with. I usually get to a point where I'm like, we need someone else to look at this. Like, I need the client to tell me what they think about this instead of me trying to figure out how to make it perfect for them, right? Because I don't know what's going to be the right way to use my time to get this to 100%. I need some feedback first. And so stepping out of my own brain to like invite in some other thinking to actually like make progress is, I think, one way that I kind of try and address when I do feel like that overthinking is sort of slowing me down and holding me back.
Yeah. And I think there are decisions where, like, if it's, you know, work product or something, right, where it's like, is this good enough or is this where it needs to be for now? But then there are like big decisions like, should I quit my job? And then I'm going back and forth and like, well, what about this? And what about this? And if this, and, you know, like the decision that you make then is like there's some finality to it, right? Versus like, okay, if it's a client deliverable, like you can edit.
Back and forth. Yeah.
Figure it out, do it better the next time, whatever it is. Or like, which house should I buy? You know? And so then it's like, well, I can weigh all the pros and cons and I can consider how we'd use it and I can do this and then that. And like to the point in that last voice note, like if I'm overthinking this decision, someone else might buy that house, right? It might not be for sale anymore. And so now I've overthought this thing that now a decision has been made for me because I couldn't make my own, right? And so I think that's an indicator, clearly. That's a distinction of like when you have overthought it, is when you no longer can make that decision.
Right,
because
yeah.
you were thinking about it too long and now it's not an option anymore.